Local business to furnish homes in and around New Orleans. Doors always keeping an eye on the latest styles and trends to fit your home. Our design team will make decorating your home fun and simple. We are a unique city, and the products at Door reflect the areas we serve. So come into Door Furniture today for the styles, colors, and designs that'll make your house a home.
For 85 years, solid wood, solid reputation at Door.
Covington and New Orleans.
4 days, 300 plus bands, 22 stages, 70 plus food vendors. French Quarter Festival, presented by Chevron, is kicking off the 2025 Fest season. From April 10th to the 13th, enjoy nonstop music, incredible food, and unforgettable moments. Get the Fest app or visit FrenchQuarterFest.org for the full schedule, music cubes, menus, and more. See you there for 100% local food and music.
Hey, do you ever wonder who really listens to talk radio? Or even, who is this new Lisa and why are we going live with her? And what does it mean to be unscripted? Hey guys, my name is Lisa Leonardi and I am the new talk show host of Live with Lisa Unscripted. My show is about living our unique NOLA life with a touch of inappropriateness and a ton of side-splitting laughs to get you home every Monday at 4 p.m. here on WGSO 990 AM.
Hi, this is Susan Berniker bringing you a new show, Health Connections, every Wednesday afternoon at 5 p.m. when we explore health from doctors, researchers, scientists, naturopaths, pharmacists, authors, fitness, and more. You'll be able to call in and ask your own health questions. So join me, Susan Berniker, every Wednesday at 5 p.m. right here on WGSO 990 AM with Health Connections.
Yo, what's up, New Orleans? This is The Whistle.
And I'm Jay.
Join us every Thursday at 4 p.m. on WGSO AM 990.
And around the world, www.wgso.com.
For Only Good Vibes News Network, your source of positive information.
We're bringing you good news and good vibes.
Every Thursday at 4 p.m. on 990 AM WGSO New Orleans.
And streaming around the world on all your favorite devices at WGSO.com.
Chef Jamie Gwen here. Tune in for delicious conversation and let me feed your soul every Sunday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on WGSO 990 AM, the community voice of the Crescent City.
Hi, this is Rusty, owner of the Olive Branch Cafe. Join me on Tuesdays at 4 for the Best Bank Hour on WGSO 990.
Join me, Jack Clegg, for the Jack Clegg Show every Friday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. only on WGSO 990 AM.
All right, New Orleans, welcome. This is segment 2 of the Jack Clegg Show, and because of my ineptitude, I didn't start YouTube until just a few minutes ago. So if you're watching on YouTube today, you missed the first section, which I kind of gave a preview of what we're going to talk about today. One of the issues, and we'll get to that in a moment, is why is it that we as consumers are the ones that law enforcement is putting responsibility on for stopping scam calls? I have not heard, and I've done research trying to look for it, of how authorities or our tech geniuses, how they've gone after scam callers and scammers on text messages and scammers on emails. Why is it our responsibility? I'm not saying we should be careless. I'm not saying we should be frivolous about what we do and not care. And we should cooperate. But it seems to me that without some real beef behind this, and I use the example of February 4th, 2024, illegal aliens in the United States felt one way, okay? Maybe they looked over their shoulder, but I don't think they did. April 4th, 2025, right now, if you're an illegal alien here in this country, an undocumented immigrant, if you want to call them, you're looking behind your back all the time. There are stories about how law enforcement's going, well, you think phone scammers are concerned about things? No. In fact, there are more of them now than there ever have been. And I'm wondering what is really going on there. So hopefully someone who is better informed than I am, and I've tried to do a lot of research on this, and I can't find anything other than the continual harping on the consumer to protect himself. But even though I might protect myself, but how does that stop the scammer from going against somebody else? It doesn't. It doesn't. And I mean, simple things like, okay, in Louisiana, okay, we get called, and I know we do, with phone numbers with a 504 area code. That's our Southeast Louisiana area code. Okay. And so you see the 504, and you think, well, maybe there's somebody who knows me. You know, I don't recognize the number, but maybe it's somebody who knows me. A lot of people call. A lot of people from the radio show and other give me a call. And so I answer it, and suddenly I hear a little bit of a silence and then a click, and then somebody, oh, hello, John, how are you? Because my name is John on all my documents. So someone will say John, and I immediately know they don't know me. And I immediately know this is a scam call, but it happens more and more and more often. And I'm thinking, how do these people get access to all these phone numbers? Because I'll see one phone number, and 3 days later, the same voice on a different number. Anyway, we'll get to that. That's what we talked about in the first segment. Now we're in the second segment, and we have a caller on hold. You want to get to him? Get to him. All right. Hello, Andrew's brother. Matthew, how are you?
Greetings, Jack. So,
sounds like you're at work.
I am at work. That is where I normally am Monday through Friday, unless I give them 2 weeks notice, and I'm not going to be.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen soon. All right. So what can I do for you today, sir?
Well, you were asking why doesn't somebody with a gun and a badge go after these people?
Yes.
Because they trace the call if they bother to take an interest in it in the first place. In Jefferson Parish, they will kind of look at it a little bit, but as soon as the trail leads them overseas, it's way out of their jurisdiction. There's no cooperating jurisdiction in Myanmar, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Slovakia, Romania.
And fully 100% understood. And so one other question, this I don't know. And again, I'm going to try to get somebody as a guest here who actually knows. What you said is accurate. No question about it. What you said is accurate. What if the call is coming from New York? They don't have any jurisdiction.
The call is coming New York.
Yeah,
I theoretically think they can call the New York State Police.
Sure.
Who, depending on their orders, which, given the government in New York State,
hard to say, right?
Right, is probably going to be like, that's not a priority for us. We got to stop the evil orange man. And so they're not going to pay any attention to a call from those hicks in
or
Southeast Louisiana.
Or California or Illinois or some other place which allows this kind of activity to go on. Because to me, and you're 100% right, many of these are overseas. Okay. Which seems to me we need a federal response to the scam issue. A simple one. And the other thing that I see here, really simple one, is we need to change the way people get phone numbers. Okay. Way long time ago, when we had one phone company, AT&T, we didn't have this because they doled out the phone numbers. Okay. Today, we have phone numbers that are everywhere, and different entities have them and sell them in bundles. They don't sell them one at a time. They sell them in bundles. And and
there's computer programs that will make phone numbers and test them.
Exactly. So thank you. Once again, our advancements in technology have not been thought through.
Well, there's no way of it's like there's these various governments that are trying to stop people making their own guns. You can't. But that leads me to another point, and that is you are disappointed that the advice from the government is to protect yourself. That should be the advice always.
Right.
Police are always minutes away when seconds count. And so the scammer is microseconds away when the police are hours away.
Right.
And this is not a dig at policemen. This is just the nature of human nature. The predator is always faster.
Okay, I understand this. Okay, and what you say is correct, and I'm not disagreeing with it at all. But the real issue here, one of the real issues, is as you just said, and I've got to take a break here. We got to take a break. Will you hold on? Will you hold on through the break? Okay.
Sure.
We'll be back in a few minutes with the Jack Clegg Show.
11 to 12, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live at WGSO.com.
Join me, Jack Clegg, for the Jack Clegg Show every Friday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. only on WGSO 990 AM.
Hello, this is David Jeremiah. Join me each weekday morning at 4:30 or 5:30 a.m. for Turning Point on the community voice of the Crescent City WGSO.
Don't get stuck in boring talk radio. Give it a much-needed splash of laughs and a little Southern Louisiana flavor with Implicit Bias Radio. I'm Kevon Bordelon. Join the crew and I each Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. as we give our thoughts on what's going down around the country. We'll crack open a fresh bottle of whiskey each week as we talk about what's swirling around in our heads and in the glasses. The Implicit Bias Radio Show, every Saturday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on WGSO 990 AM.
WGSO 990 AM is the only locally owned and operated talk station in New Orleans. We feature 20 local hosts discussing a variety of topics. In an era when the daily newspaper is being discontinued and our competitors are out-of-state media conglomerates, we ask you, our listeners, to support local programming on a local station. To advertise or sponsor one of our great shows, contact me at jeff@WGSO.com or call 504-669-6076.
Hi there, everybody. This is Jackie Gumbo, inviting you to join me each and every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. for Uncle Jackie's Gumbo. A little bit of this and a whole lot of that each and every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. only on WGSO 990 AM New Orleans or WGSO.com. Bring your gumbo, baby. We're going to have us a blast.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Colleen Crane. Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's deputies found a couple dead in their home near Amite Thursday afternoon, and they're searching for the couple's son in connection with the double homicide investigation. During a welfare check, deputies found 66-year-old Priscilla Bricado deceased and later found 75-year-old Mark Bricado deceased on the property. 34-year-old Joshua Bricado has been named a person of interest. He's 5'9" tall and weighs 200 pounds with brown eyes and brown hair. He's believed to be driving a white 2014 Ford utility van and was last known to be in Lafayette. Anyone with information is urged to call the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office, State Police, or Crime Stoppers at 800-554-5245. Economists are concerned sweeping tariffs could slow the U.S. economy, and Louisiana Restaurant Association President Stan Harris says the restaurant industry is bracing for increased costs.
Some of the increases are going to occur more quickly. Others are going to be seen when they replace inventory or replace equipment.
LRN.
Teens are using social media to buy what they think are prescription pills, like Oxy, Xanax, or Adderall. But these pills are actually made with a cheaper, stronger, and more deadly synthetic called fentanyl. You cannot see it, smell it, or taste it. Naloxone and fentanyl testing strips are available for free through many community service organizations to help prevent opioid overdose. Carry naloxone and know the signs of an overdose. If you or a loved one needs help, go to opioidhelpla.org. Brought to you by the Louisiana Department of Health.
Fiery wins are ahead when you play Fire It Up from the lottery. Win up to $20,000. Stop at any lottery retailer and pick up Fire It Up today. It's a ticket for all seasons. Play Louisiana Seasons from the lottery. Top prize is a whopping $200,000. Stop at any lottery retailer and pick up Louisiana Seasons today. Louisiana Lottery, giving you a reason to smile. Must be at least 21 to purchase.
Door Furniture has been a trusted local business to furnish homes in and around New Orleans. Door is always keeping an eye on the latest styles and trends to fit your home. Our design team will make decorating your home fun and simple. We are a unique city, and the products at Door reflect the areas we serve. So come into Door Furniture today for the styles, colors, and designs that'll make your house a home.
For 85 years, solid wood, solid reputation at Door.
Covington and New Orleans.
Hey folks, it's Jeff Cruier. I've been with WGSO for 17 years as host and now president and general manager. WGSO is a community-based radio station, a nonprofit, locally operated. We believe in cultivating local talent and emphasizing local programs. If you have an interest in hosting your own program, then we have some prime spots available for you. Take advantage of this great offer. Email me at jeff@wgso.com or call me at 504-669-6076. Come fulfill your radio dreams at WGSO. Hey, Mimi, we love Wednesdays, but we're moving to a new time.
Listen to He Said, She Said, Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
As usual, we'll be discussing and debating the hot topics.
And taking your phone calls.
You can find out who's right. Of course, that's me.
No, wait, Jeff, I'm never wrong. Remember, happy wife, happy life.
So we'll have a lot to talk about on He Said, She Said.
Listen to the Crew of Crew Air, Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
Right here on WGSO.
Broadcasting from deep within the Louisiana Purchase, beneath spacious skies, overlooking the fruited plain, and smack dab in the land of the free. The American Ground Radio Program with Louis R. Abalone and Stephen Parr, where freedom grows. Listen each weeknight from 7 to 9 p.m. with Louis R. Abalone and Stephen Parr here on WGSO 990 AM.
All right, New Orleans, welcome back to inning number 3 of our 8-hour inning Jack Clegg show. And we're talking to Matthew. We're talking about why and what the reasons are. Scam calls are on the increase, and there doesn't seem to be much done to prevent them from sticking their hands in our pockets. Now, Matthew, I was stating, in my view, and you were touching on this, it's not a priority. Okay. Why isn't it a priority is my question. And
well, I don't even know that it is or it is not a priority. It may be a matter that, I mean, we're busy having a trade war. Maybe you hadn't heard the news. And we're all going to die. So it's every man for himself. And if you want to steal from some old geezers who answer their phone, it's okay. Yeah, it probably depends on the jurisdiction. And depends on how seriously they take law enforcement, which depends a lot on things like, what were they promising when they were, quote unquote, elected?
Well,
I
think the whole thing, and I hate to be so simplistic, but the whole thing is money. And these folks, the scammers, want our money, and they're taking our money. And the authorities don't seem to care much about that because they're taking little bits of money, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we're not spending any money to go after it. Now, why are we not spending any money? Well, because our law enforcement budgets are under attack.
Strange.
And
especially
a decision has been made. A decision has been made that we're going to spend money going after violent offenders, and that somehow this is not a violent offense. And this is not just Louisiana; it's throughout the country. So, all right, you've got that going for you. That there is no political will because there's no engine behind the political will. There's no money behind the political will. So nothing is actually being done. Now, when I say nothing, I'm only saying my observations are that these calls are on the uptick. The illegal texts are on the uptick. And when I had an issue personally involving me, and I talked to my bank about it, and the banks have said, well, the only thing we can do is cut off your credit card.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do that, it's going to take 10 days for you to get a new one. And it's like, even they're not helping anymore. It used to be you could get, okay, take my credit card. The bad guy's got my information. Okay, I want a new credit card. I'll go to the bank tomorrow. Oh, no, you can't do that. The banks don't issue that anymore. We don't have them do that anymore. Why not? What, the plastic doesn't make it to my local bank? They can't put numbers on there? You can't organize this? What's the reason that doesn't happen?
It's all consolidated and probably coming out of a factory in ding dong 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 ding ding dong ding dong China,
Well,
which was burned down by the owner.
I don't. No, that's not it. That's not it, because I put up a stink, and I got mine the next day by FedExpress that they paid the FedExpress. I didn't pay for it, and I did it because I said I needed it, and this is wrong. They didn't argue with me. They didn't give me any beef about it. I said, okay, Mr. Clegg, we'll get you right there. Okay, fine. It's not because I'm a big, I have a huge amount of money in the bank, and they looked at it and said, oh, no, that's not it.
Well, you're a famous
Well,
talk show host.
Well, maybe that's it. No, that's silly too. That's not the point. The point is most people say, okay, all right. I mean, I can't imagine why my bank, it's on Harrison Avenue in Lakefront, okay, nice, seems safe and whatnot, but they cannot issue a credit card or a debit card. They used to be able to. Why can't they do it anymore? And I know why.
Those have changed.
No, well, the reason it is, I believe, is they don't trust who's working there.
That's a distinct possibility.
And I think that's why people in multi-state and multinational companies don't do that, because they don't trust certain areas, because there's crime, and particularly nonviolent crime, going on everywhere. And we're not even thinking about it. And somehow we've all been, would you say, re-engineered to not worry about this, even if we're the victims.
Well, I would quote a former parish president of Jefferson Parish, who served a brief stint in federal prison. So I wouldn't take any legal advice from him, but his advice after Katrina and everybody was cleaning up was, don't worry about your stuff. It's only stuff.
Well,
and that's, as long as you have public officials who have that as their attitude, Who cares about nonviolent crime? As a matter of fact, and this is kind of a shocker and at the same time amusing, there is a guy who has a talk show and he talks about defending yourself with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
But he says that if somebody comes into your house who doesn't have a gun and they just want to steal your big screen TV, let them have it.
Mm.
Which, if you follow that standard, though, at what point do you draw a line? I mean, if you're a woman and they want to rape you, it's just an inconvenience for a few minutes, probably very few minutes. Why don't you just let them rape you?
Well, the Jefferson Parish guy who said it's just a TV set, whatever. No, there's more to it than that. But what I believe is happening, what I believe is really happening, is once they defunded the police. Did you get a break in your taxes? When they defunded the police,
the police in Jefferson Parish,
we didn't get any money back. Nobody sent me this is the money we haven't spent because we've defunded the police. Here you go, Jack. Here's your $85. No.
Well, you live in Orleans Parish, Jack, where they have the fairest elections ever, and they vote for the wisest people.
No, my point is that I believe elected officials saw this as a battle they didn't want to fight.
Yeah, because
so they turned to the voter. They turned to the voter and said, "It's up to you. You need to protect yourself." And don't worry about that guy breaking in your house. It's just a TV. How do you know? What, you wearing a sign? I'm only here to steal your TV. No, it's preposterous. They don't want to fight it because they don't want to fight that battle. They don't want to fight the battle because not enough of us say the battle should be fought. And the other thing is, if they didn't spend the money, if they didn't spend the revenue on nonviolent crime, what they spend it on? Who's ever getting that money that used to go to fraud and, maybe working with other jurisdictions, maybe working with the feds to find those criminals, where is it going now? And that's what we learned from Elon Musk, is this money keeps coming in and you can stop it being spent here. It's just going to be spent somewhere else. There are.
I'm going to tell you what Joseph Lapinto, generally a very good sheriff of Jefferson Parish, said at a Home Defense Foundation meeting. It was the last one about 2 months ago. He said that because they have increased the amount of manpower they put on electronic crimes, they've had to take it out of the law, the traffic enforcement budget.
Sure.
You can't have a policeman do two things at the same time.
Of course. And again, we have in Orleans Parish, we've now hired OSS. We had the gentleman on the show, Mr. Sheremy, great guy.
Yes.
And they've got the company that does it because we don't. Now, is it going to be, at the end of the day, more or less money by having OSS? We don't know. I have no idea. I don't know.
Long-term savings that are possible with that, simply because of the.
I don't see it either. I agree with you. Hey, listen, buddy. Thanks for calling. We'll talk to you next Friday if you get a chance to call. For the audience, our phone number is 504-556-9696. We want to talk about immigration. The topic of scam calls, and what do you think about that? Is this a lot of nothing? Because I hope it isn't. I think it's a little bit more than that, and it represents a little bit more than that with our system. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, when we come back from the break, the Department of Education. Yahoo News did a poll. They took a poll among teachers. And I have the comments that the teachers made about getting rid of the Federal Department of Education. Very, very interesting. Anyway, we'll be back in a few minutes with the Jack Clegg Show. It'll be inning number 4. Yes, it will. All right, back in a second.
Door Furniture has been a trusted local business to furnish homes in and around New Orleans. Door is always keeping an eye on the latest styles and trends to fit your home. Our design team will make decorating your home fun and simple. We are a unique city, and the products at Door reflect the areas we serve. So come into Door Furniture today for the styles, colors, and designs that'll make your house a home.
For 85 years, solid wood, solid reputation at Door.
Covington and New Orleans.
What's up, y'all? I'm Derek, Mr. Smoker Freeman. Do yourself a favor. Tune in to the Only Good Vibes News Network, Thursdays at 4 p.m. on WGSO AM 990 or streaming on all your devices at www.wgso.com. Join Whistle and Jay as they bring you good news and good vibes about our community. Just 1 hour a week. Come practice a positive vibe.
Hey guys, this is Lisa Leonardi, the host of the new show Live with Lisa Unscripted, every Monday at 4 p.m. drive time here on WGSO.
Get up early on Saturdays and talk LSU athletics with us. Tiger Rag Radio every Saturday morning, 5 to 7 on WGSO, the community voice of the Crescent City.
I'm pet trendologist Charlotte Reed. Listen to the Pet Buzz airing every Saturday at 6 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM, the community voice of the Crescent City.
Join me, BJ Rust, every Saturday night for the Something to Say radio show on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live on WGSO.com.
I'm Richard Bienvenu. Join me every Monday at 5 p.m. Whether you're local or just love New Orleans, this is your show. That's Completely New Orleans on WGSO.
Got a passion for food? Chew on This is now serving up fresh flavors at a new time, Saturdays at 2 p.m. Don't miss a bite, only on WGSO or online at WGSO.com.
Hi, this is Rusty from the Olive Branch Cafe. We use only the freshest ingredients, and we prepare everything from scratch 7 days a week. West Bank born, West Bank raised, West Bank proud. The Olive Branch Cafe, Marrero in Algiers.
Make a difference in the community. Join the JPSO family. The Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office is recruiting candidates for our July 2025 Police Academy. If you are a recent graduate, former military, or someone looking for a new career where you can make a difference, join the Academy and learn the academic and tactical skills to protect and serve. Application deadline for the July Academy is March 21st, so don't wait. Join the JPSO family. Visit jpsojobs.com today.
All right, New Orleans, welcome back to the Jack Clegg Show. This is the 4th inning of our 8-inning doubleheader every Friday afternoon from 4 to 6. All right, and our call number is 504-556-9696. And what I'm going to talk about for the next few minutes is an issue that actually the major issue is, even though we have had a change of leadership in America, and a big change of leadership, if anybody thinks this is same old, they're wrong. This is not only a new philosophy about things, but there's action being taken on that philosophy. And immigration is probably the largest and the most active issue. But we know the Ukraine on foreign affairs. It's not the same old. Joe Biden, I think we'll give him $100 billion this month. Next month we'll give him another couple of billion, without any idea where the money's going or what it's or with any discussions with anybody about ending the battles so we don't have to spend the money and people don't have to die. Okay. Things are different now. Okay. And one of the topics that's different now, of course, is this president. And again, I'm not a Trump lover, but I am impressed with the focus and what's happening. And I tend to agree with most of the things that he's doing. Okay. One of the big things is, and Elon Musk and his team have proven the point. And if you don't think they have, you've not been paying attention. And that is that taxpayer money has been going in to fund what in 2016 was called the deep state. Remember when Trump ran, it was a deep state this, a deep state that, a deep state, and it wasn't very defined. Well, now we know what it is. The deep state is that group of men and women who really believe that our taxpayer money is nothing that we have to worry about. We just pay it. What do we get out of it? That's what they concern themselves with. Putting money in foreign countries to do a variety of things that no one here would agree with. But since no one knows what they're doing, it happens. And that is just sickening. The one department, the Department of Education, which does, okay, how do you know whether the Department of Education does well or not? Well, how about the fact that in the world, based on test scores, and I'm not saying test scores are always 100% accurate, but there's no reason America, with the amount of money we spend on our own education, we're rated like 38th or 39th in the world in reading and mathematics. How does that happen? How does that happen? With a Department of Education. One would think that years ago, when our numbers started tanking, okay, somebody's going to say it was COVID. It was COVID. Okay, all right, fine. We're not in COVID anymore. We haven't been in COVID in 3 years. Okay, how come the numbers keep coming down? What did the Department of Education do? Name one thing the Department of Education did after COVID to improve education among students. I'm listening. What did you do? Did anybody in the Department of Education say, look, because of COVID, all these students have been held back in their learning. We're going to go to a 6-day school week. What? You mean I got to work 6 days? I'm talking to the union. They're not going to like that at all. That would have been the first thing. If I was in charge of education and I saw what was happening, and even if I said they were hurt by COVID, by not going to school, by those completely useless computer classes they were taking, I mean classes via computer, I would have said, we got to do something. Okay, if it's not 6 days of school, it's 5 days of school, 10 hours a day instead of 6 hours a day. But they've done nothing. They've done nothing to make up the difference. So when someone comes along and says, get rid of the Department of Education, number one, by getting rid of the Department of Education, you're not at all jeopardizing any plans to improve education. We've been listening for weeks and weeks. I've been talking about it. Nobody said, well, we had a plan. Okay. This Yahoo News had a story out today. So if you want to read it, you can yourself. What they did was a poll of educators. They talked to educators all over the country about that question. What about the Department of Education and the Department of Education being eliminated? And it's really interesting. I'm going to go through just a couple of the comments. Some said yes, some said no. But when you read them all, you come away with a very, very clear indication. Okay, here is one of the people they talked to was this person said, I work in a Title I school. My students are affected by poverty, which puts them in a disadvantage for reaching and having a proper education. They really do not stand a chance if the programs we offer are stripped. All students in my school receive free breakfast and lunches. We offer an academic/enrichment after-school program as well, where students can continue their learning after school. Without these programs, these children will not be able to reach their potential. Just because they suffer a life of poverty is no reason they should suffer an adult life of poverty. They are our future. Okay. I understand what this person is saying, and I empathize with them. But what are they talking about? They're talking not about the plans the Department of Education has to make the kids smarter. What they're talking about is how to help out children in poverty eating and spending the day. They talked about the lunch programs. In New Orleans, we have schools that give breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We have schools that give people those styrofoam boxes with food that they can take home at the end of the day. Okay, so the extra stuff that they have is federal money used for food, Department of Agriculture, farmers make money. Okay, that's all fine. But the point is, how are we making these kids smarter? That's not coming from the Department of Education. Okay, we're going to take a break right now, and we'll be back in a few moments with the first segment of the next hour on the Jack Clegg Show.
Days, 300 plus bands, 22 stages, 70 plus food vendors. French Quarter Festival, presented by Chevron, is kicking off the 2025 Fest season. From April 10th to the 13th, enjoy nonstop music, incredible food, and unforgettable moments. Get the Fest app or visit FrenchQuarterFest.org for the full schedule, music cubes, menus, and more. See you there for 100% local food and music.
This is Kate Delaney from America Tonight. The show kicks on at midnight, and I'm loving the overwhelming support in New Orleans. What a group of fantastic listeners here on WGSO 990 AM. Join me every morning to catch up on what I call the buzz in your backyard and mine. You'll hear some of the most interesting people on the planet from the world of business, politics, sports, and, well, just intriguing people with a story to tell. If you're around, give us a call. Don't worry, I'll spit out the number plenty of times on the air. Let's agree to meet at midnight right here on WGSO 990 AM in New Orleans.
Hi, this is Susan Berniker bringing you a new show, Health Connections, every Wednesday afternoon at 5 p.m. Doctors, researchers, authors, and more. Join me Wednesdays at 5 o'clock right here on WGSO 990 AM.
Listen each weeknight from 7 to 9 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr here on WGSO 990 AM.
Real Talk with Revolution is back. This is Effie, and I've brought along some new friends.
Nikki D here. We'll be talking real estate, real life, and everything in between.
Please join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live at WGSO.com.
You might be afraid to speak out for fear of cancel culture or losing your job. Christian Garrick Show on WGSO is your platform. Noon to 2 weekdays right here on 990 AM WGSO.
Join me, BJ Rust, every Saturday night at 7 p.m. for the Something to Say radio show right here on WGSO 990 AM New Orleans.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting in Washington. President Trump is preaching patience as the stock market plummets on news of his across-the-board tariffs. White House correspondent Craig Clugston reports.
With the global economy reeling from the tariffs, the president is insisting his trade policies will never change. He wrote online that this is a great time to get rich, telling Americans to hang tough. Meanwhile, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell said the tariffs were significantly larger than expected and are highly likely to cause more inflation. Greg Clugston, Washington.
President Trump says he's extending a lifeline to keep TikTok operating in the U.S. Correspondent Jennifer King reports.
In a post to Truth Social, the president says he's signing an executive order to keep the popular social media site up and running to give his administration more time to broker a deal.
We're very close to a deal with a very good group of people.
With reporters on Air Force One Thursday, the president hinted that tariffs might be a useful tool to renegotiate terms with China.
China maybe will call and say, well, we're upset with the tariffs, and maybe they want to get something a little bit in order to get TikTok approved. Who knows?
Congress had mandated the platform be divested from China or be barred in the U.S. on national security grounds. ByteDance owns TikTok and its algorithms and insists the platform is not for sale. I'm Jennifer King.
Parts of the Midwest and South are facing the possibility of torrential rains and life-threatening flash floods. The fresh storms on Friday come as many communities are still reeling from severe tornadoes that destroyed whole neighborhoods and killed at least 7 people. Kentucky's governor said floodwaters swept away and killed a boy Friday in his state. Forecasters warned of catastrophic weather on the way. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 2,231 points. More at townhall.com.
The big media are out to stop President Trump at any cost. ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, they're all the same. President Trump doesn't trust the big media, even Fox News. Now, millions of Americans are turning to Newsmax. Nielsen reports almost 30 million Americans tuned into Newsmax last quarter. And President Trump is one. He watches Newsmax and says it's terrific. So tune in tonight to watch Rob Finnerty's series, The Big Media's War on Trump. Every night, Rob Finnerty is exposing their big lies and gives you the straight talk you want. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or download the free Newsmax app on your phone or home TV now. Millions have made the switch to Newsmax. You should too.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Wall Street's worst crisis since COVID slammed into a higher, scarier gear. The S&P 500 plummeted 6%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plunged 5.5%. And the NASDAQ Composite dropped 5.8%. The losses came after China matched President Trump's big raise in tariffs announced earlier this week. Not even a better-than-expected report on the U.S. job market was enough to stop worries about the escalating trade war and possibly causing a recession. The head of the Federal Reserve also warned about how tariffs can push up on inflation. The Dow was down 2,231 points to 38,314. The NASDAQ lost 962 to 15,587. The S&P 500 dropped 322 points to 5074. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
Just a slim chance of a shower anytime. Middle 80s tomorrow after 70s with windy conditions. Strong gusts going to continue. Saturday night, widely scattered storms, and they'll be developing in the early morning hours of Sunday. Thunderstorms, potentially strong damaging winds, isolated tornadoes, and heavy rains. Morning hours Sunday. Those morning storms taper off gradually. It's off and on wet, though, through much of the day as it turns a little cooler, only 70s for the highs on Sunday. Ralph Sanji, WGSO. The Celtic Music Festival in Pensacola. It's a full day of incredible live music, traditional dances, great food, and memorable fun for the whole family. Whether you're a fan of bagpipes, fiddles, or just looking to experience the magic of Celtic culture, this Celtic Music Fest is for you. One day only, Saturday, April 12th, 12 p.m. at Pensacola Interstate Fairgrounds, Pensacola. Get tickets today at GCRF.US.
The views and opinions expressed during this show are those of the host and guests only. In no way do they represent the views, positions, or opinions expressed or implied of WGSO 990 AM or North Shore Radio Incorporated.
All right, New Orleans, welcome to segment 5 of our Friday show. This is the Jack Clegg Show. We're on from 4 to 6 every Friday, and you're now on the back end of it from 5 to 6 o'clock. And what we were talking about this beforehand, and if you just joined us now, we've been discussing the pros and cons of getting rid of the Department of Education. And I might have an opinion, my producers here might have opinions, but I think it's important to know what teachers say. They're on the line. They're on the front line. They're dealing with kids. They know some of the things they utilize in their class, in their school, in the school day is federal money. And they presume that comes from the Department of Education. They also know that for the last 2 decades, we have been dropping. Our education levels in test scores have been dropping. And it's a horrible, horrible thing. And third graders reading at the kindergarten level, only 30% of them reading at the third grade level or above. Eighth graders, same thing. Okay. So we know that the one goal of an education regulator is to improve those tests and to have children reading better, doing math better. We know this is the case. Okay. And it's not working. So Yahoo News took a poll, and they asked teachers, and you can go today, Google Yahoo News, educators polled regarding Department of Education or ceasing Department of Education. You'll get it. And you get all of the answers to the comments by these educators. I read one before the break where teachers said really need this. Particularly, she taught at a school where there was a lot of poverty. And the fact that there was, school lunches, after school food, there was after school programs, all of this paid for by federal money. She thought, we can't get rid of the department. We need these things. We can't get rid of the Department of Education. Okay. And really, that's important, teaching in a school like that. But it's money. Okay, you get the money from other places. I'm looking for a Department of Education that will improve education. Okay? Not just throw money because the people who go to this school can't afford it. I got it. Okay? That's a local issue. That is how in the world do the bureaucrats in DC know how much money, who needs it, what? No, it's a local issue, and that should be a local issue. Okay, so I read one of the comments that pulled at your heartstrings in terms of we need the Department of Education to keep sending the money. Okay, this is from Brandon, a 40-year-old. He's a 6th grade English teacher from Chicago. He says, dismantling is a scare tactic. However, I agree with what is going on. The Department of Education in our country is an inflated institution with little to no idea how to best help educators in the field every day. I agree that states and even countries, parishes in our state, best know how to utilize and spend monies to optimize learning in students and job performance in teachers. Okay, I could go on. For everyone, there's one who says it's horrible that they're going to get rid of the Department of Education. Another one says it's awesome. So, but read what they have to say, because they face it every day. And the question of money, I tend to believe that the expenditure of money should be local and not up to the federal government. And someone somewhere here in Louisiana has to kind of wake up a little bit about us. What do you think our reputation is right now in the country? When you're living in Connecticut, or you're living in Idaho, or you're living in Indiana, whatever, and you hear a story about Louisiana, you know what you're hearing about, right? The only stories we're hearing about Louisiana is when they take immigrants off the street and they have to put them in a detention center. They're sending them to Jenna or to Bray. These are the two that we have. One is in Evangeline Parish and the other is in LaSalle Parish. And so that's what we're hearing about. That's Louisiana. I don't want to hear about that in Louisiana. I'm glad we're doing it. That's good to help. But I want to hear about Louisiana dropping from 50th in the country or 49th in the country down to 25th. Now, Mississippi did it. We can't. How is that? And this show is not devoted just to education, but we've had shows in the past where we've explained that you've got to make some tough choices. And I don't see them being made. I'm glad somebody put the 10 Commandments up. Okay, that's fine. But if the kids can't read the 10 Commandments, what good does it do? Okay, we've got to get back to some fundamentals in this country on education, and we're certainly not doing it. All right, we will break our rule. Usually, a caller gets one shot at being a brilliant caller. We're going to give Matthew a chance. Matthew, you called back. What's up? Is there something you forgot?
No, it's just you bringing up something that we weren't talking about earlier. That's education, Department of Education.
Sure.
My wife worked in education as a school secretary, and she, for the life of her, just doesn't know what the Department of Education does. The school lunch program, as you correctly identified, is covered by the United States Department of Agriculture.
Right.
Okay, so she doesn't know what the Department of Education did for the school she worked at, but she can tell you what the problem is with education. One word: the kids don't want to learn.
I got you. What does, presuming you speak with your wife, and you don't have to call her in from work, but
usually it's for her to fuss at me because the people on the nice people on television told her that Donald Trump was barbecuing babies or something.
okay, well, here's the one question, if you know the answer, and I appreciate your calling to verify the fact that the federal money doesn't all come from the Department of Education, but the question is, when the teachers at that school, wherever she teaches at, and you didn't identify, and that's okay, when they talk about, and I taught for a long time ago, I taught at De La Salle High School here in New Orleans, and there's a teacher's lounge, and you learn who the good teachers are, who the bad teachers are, you learn who's concerned about education or who's concerned about discipline. There are some people who don't even know the difference, and they think they're both the same, but they are different functions. And when you talk to your wife, what is the biggest problem at the school she has, and what's her recommended solution?
The biggest problem, discipline.
Okay.
The recommended solution is we have to bring back corporal punishment.
Slap them around, huh?
Well, not necessarily brutal life, but I will give you a difference in schools. Two Catholic schools, as a matter of fact. I went to Marist Brothers in Sumo Beach in Japan.
Okay.
And the discipline at that school was extraordinarily strict.
Okay.
And if you misbehave, you got to paddle. It would be a private paddling if it was a minor thing. If it was a severe sin against education, because, in spite of the fact that it was a Catholic school, we weren't allowed to catechize. And there's no religion in education in a Japanese school.
Okay.
So, which actually turns out to be a civilization thing in a different way.
Right.
But if you were really bad, there was an assembly call. Your crime was called out before.
So you had
asked,
public.
How do you plead?
Public. I got to go. And thanks for calling back, Matthew. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
this new Lisa, and why are we going live with her? And what does it mean to be unscripted? Hey guys, my name is Lisa Leonardi, and I am the new talk show host of Live with Lisa Unscripted. My show is about living our unique NOLA life with a touch of inappropriateness and a ton of side-splitting laughs to get you home every Monday at 4 p.m. here on WGSO 990 AM.
Hello, this is Jack Clegg. I want to thank all my listeners and the support I get here at WGSO for making our program, The Jack Clegg Show, successful. Along with that success has come a change in time zones. No, we're not moving to the Pacific time zone, but we are changing the time of our show. Now, for the immediate future, we will be 4 to 6 p.m. every Friday afternoon. Callers are welcome. That's The Jack Clegg Show, Fridays at 4 p.m. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Mimi, we love Wednesdays, but we're moving to a new time.
Listen to He Said, She Said, Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
Right here on WGSO.
Tired of placing multiple calls to multiple vendors and getting the runaround? Turn to one resource who can get it done. Sir Speedy. We provide a wide spectrum of print, signs, and marketing services, all backed by more than 5 decades of experience. So when you need that new brochure, direct marketing campaign, or signage to promote your brand, give us a call at 504-586-9812 or visit us online at sirspeedyneworleans.com. Everything you need, one resource, Sir Speedy.
Baldy and the Blonde. Radical Radio for Radical Times. Wednesdays at 4 on WGSO. Follow us on X at Baldy Blonde.
That's not America.
What does Grace mean to you? At Grace at the Green Light, a 501c3 nonprofit, we believe that everyone deserves a hot meal, clean drinking water, and a chance to go home again. Our work is made possible through the generous support of Faubourg Private Wealth, which provides holistic financial planning tailored for your family. Find out more at fpwa.com.
When the time came, I knew I had to find a place where Mom would be safe and active while still feeling independent. A place that was close to all of us and everything she needed. Locally owned and operated in the heart of Gonzales, I found Francois Ben's Senior Living. They specialize in independent and assisted living and memory care.
Call 225-647-BEND for more information on our special pre-leasing offers.
Francois Ben's Senior Living. Experience life as it should be.
Listen each weeknight from 7 to 9 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr here on WGSO 990 AM.
All right, New Orleans, welcome to the Jack Clegg Show. You're listening to round, or what are we, inning number 6, is this? Yes, it is. Inning 6. And we'll take the 7th inning stretch next one, and we'll finish with the 8th. All right. And by the way, does anyone... Baseball started. I think I saw my first game was Saturday. Was that the first game or Sunday? I forgot. When was the first baseball game, professional game? Was it earlier in the week? Was it Saturday or Sunday, or was it Monday? Wednesday was the first day? Okay. Well, I saw, and today, there's baseball, and I love baseball. It's going on. I grew up in Chicago, so you had the Cubs or the White Sox. Somebody was always in town one time. So it was baseball all the time. It was terrific. Loved it. Okay. But baseball started then, like, and how did I know? Well, because as the spring continued, okay, you could stay up a little later, you could do a lot more, and baseball started like May 12th or something. It was like the beginning of May. My brother's birthday was May 7th, and it was always like right around the beginning of his birthday. Well, then after a while, it was like April. It was in April. Now it's like March 31st or whatever the day was when it's in March. And it used to end, remember Mr. October? There's no more Mr. October. Now you're Mr. November. So we're going from March to November. Long season. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. And Folks, we have a clear board. Feel free to call. It's 504-556-9696, the Jack Clegg Show. And we've talked about education. We've talked about immigration and what's going on. And there's a couple of new things on the immigration front. Okay. Number one, I am smitten. It's hard to be almost 7 years old and say you're smitten, but I am smitten with our head of the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security. Kristi Noem is doing a fantastic job. She is just doing a terrific job. I can't say enough good things about her. This story broke today. I read it, and it was like, wow, this is serious stuff. Okay. Now, we heard, and I have to give Trump credit. He's finessing this. Okay. What was the first thing we were going to do? Get rid of the criminals. Okay, go get the bad criminals. We're going to get the bad criminals, so forth and so on. And that's gotten a lot of blowback, but I don't think it matters a hoot. And we've got judges that have made orders. I don't think any of that is going to come to anything. I do believe that we're going to have a lot of what's called self-deportation. That is, and I've seen several of the ads on television where Kristi Noem comes out and tells people just the way it is. Look, if you leave now and leave on your own volition, okay, you may be able to come back someday. You may be able to legally immigrate to this country, but not right now. And if you don't leave, you're never going to be able to come here. I think that's a brilliant argument. And I think a lot of people are, and there are some reports, there are people coming in. There's something new that the Department of Homeland Security just started, I think it was Wednesday. Okay. There was an old law that was in existence for many, many years. 1993, I think it came out. Okay. Where if you are a non-citizen and you're 14 years old or older and you've been in the United States for 30 days, okay, you have to register with immigration. Okay. Now, if you have a visa, okay, if you let the visa run and you've been here 30 days, you have to register. Okay. But if you're 14 years old and you've been older, 14 or older, and been here for 30 days, you must register. Now, the registration is not any form of immigration document. It doesn't let you stay here a day. But if you don't register, you break the law. Okay? So they're putting immigration, people who immigrated here, in a horrible trick bag. Not that they don't deserve it, but they're in a trick bag right now. They've got to go and they have to show up somewhere and say, I need to register. Okay, where do you live? What's your phone number? What do you do? You've got to give all this information. If you don't do it, you have no defense. Any federal court anywhere will prosecute you for not registering. And bingo, that's it. No more. You're gone. You broke the law. That was it. Not only did you break the law by coming here, which many people are saying, well, I was I demanded political asylum, so I was here. Well, not now. You got to register. You're over 14 years old. You don't have a decision because we didn't have enough immigration judges to get the 5 million people that were coming in after 3 years. So what do? You have to register. If you don't register, I'm sorry, you're gone. So I give DHS great kudos for enforcing the law. That's all they're doing. Now, immediately there were a bunch of former people in Democratic positions that said, oh, this is unfair. This is unfair. It's not unfair. Go to another country. Go to another country and try to break the law. There's a great story about Germany right now. The EU, Germany is one of the countries in the EU, of course, and they had recently what we went through last year, and that is young people, pro-Palestinians, going into college buildings. This was in Berlin. And they are spray painting, graffiti, they're intimidating Jewish students, they're doing all the same things that we did here last year. Okay. Well, 4 of them were arrested. 3 of them were from the EU. 1 was a United States citizen. And what is Germany doing to all 4 of them? Deporting them, saying, you're out of here. You're gone. We will not accept that. And so it's finally, I mean, and Europe is one of the reasons we have this horrible immigration problem here, because Europe has been very tolerant of what's happened and what their foreign immigrants have done in their countries. But now they're seeing almost 2 generations now. It isn't working. It isn't working. No one is assimilating to become a Swede or to become a German no, they are maintaining their ties with their former countries. This is a different immigration system than what, if you hear, well, America was a land of immigrants. When immigrants landed here, they became Americans. They wanted to be Americans. We've got immigrants that come here that don't like America. So anyway, all right, we're going to take a break, come back in a few moments after this with the Jack Clegg Show.
Chef Jamie Gwen here. Tune in for delicious conversation and let me feed your soul every Sunday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on WGSO 990 AM, the community voice of the Crescent City.
Tired of placing multiple calls to multiple vendors and getting the runaround? Turn to one resource who can get it done. Sir Speedy. We provide a wide spectrum of print, signs, and marketing services, all backed by more than 5 decades of experience. So when you need that new brochure, direct marketing campaign, or signage to promote your brand, give us a call at 504-586-9812 or visit us online at sirspeedyneworleans.com. Everything you need, one resource, Sir Speedy.
Hello, this is David Jeremiah. Join me each weekday morning at 4:30 or 5:30 a.m. for Turning Point on the community voice of the Crescent City WGSO.
Don't get stuck in boring talk radio. Give it a much-needed splash of laughs and a little Southern Louisiana flavor with Implicit Bias Radio. I'm Kavan Bordelon. Join the crew and I each Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. as we give our thoughts on what's going down around the country. We'll crack open a fresh bottle of whiskey each week as we talk about what's swirling around in our heads and in the glasses. The Implicit Bias Radio Show, every Saturday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on WGSO 990 AM.
Hey, this is BJ Russ. Make sure you join me every Saturday night for the Something to Say radio show right here on WGSO 990 AM. We'll be on from 7 to 8 p.m. We'll talk sports, music, movies, and pretty much anything in between. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM. That's the place to be. And don't forget that you can listen to us on WGSO.com and on the Mixler app.
Hi, everybody. This is Jackie Gumbo. I'm inviting you to join me every Sunday at 5 p.m. for Uncle Jackie's Gumbo, heard only on WGSO 990.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Colleen Crane. A tornado watch is in effect for Bossier, Caddo, and Webster parishes until 9 o'clock tonight. And tomorrow, a severe weather threat will expand statewide. LSU Public Health climatologist Barry Keim says heavy rainfall is a possibility with this storm system. North Louisiana could see 2 to 3 inches, while an inch of rain could fall along the coast.
So we're looking, across the state, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. Not a bad thing for this time of year, although this could cause some flooding issues up in the northern parishes, obviously. You can always get some isolated areas with higher rainfall amounts.
Sweeping tariffs of 10% on all imports are now in effect, along with higher rates on key trading partners like China, 34%, and the European Union, 20%. And that has sparked concerns across Louisiana industries. Louisiana Restaurant Association President Stan Harris says it could cost more to eat out.
Because the expense of running the business is going to be higher. There's no question about it.
LRN.
Spring has sprung in Louisiana. Grab your friends and head out this weekend, April 4th through April 6th. Books along the Taich Literary Festival in New Iberia. April 5th, Iberville Swamp Life Expo in Gross-Tet. Wind down on Falls River in New Roads and Croatian Fest in Bellchase. Visit festivals.explorelouisiana.com and make your plans to laissez les bon temps rouler.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind.
As an adult, kids want to know you're listening to them, but they also want to listen to you. When it comes to alcohol, they want to know your expectations and how and why to avoid underage drinking. Talking early and often about it in everyday conversations reinforces your message and keeps lines of communication open. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
I'll be by your side.
4 days, 300 plus bands, 22 stages, 70 plus food vendors. French Quarter Festival, presented by Chevron, is kicking off the 2025 Fest season. From April 10th to the 13th, enjoy nonstop music, incredible food, and unforgettable moments. Get the Fest app or visit FrenchQuarterFest.org for the full schedule, music cubes, menus, and more. See you there for 100% local food and music.
Listen each weeknight from 7 to 9 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr here on WGSO 990 AM.
Real Talk with Revolution is back. Please join us from 11 to 12 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live at WGSO.com.
Hi, this is Rusty, owner of the Olive Branch Cafe. I'm excited about my new radio show, The Best Bank Hour. Every Tuesday at 4. We'll be discussing people, places, events, and issues, all things Best Bank, every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Brought to you by the Olive Branch Cafe with locations in Marrero and Algiers. So join me every Tuesday at 4 p.m. for the Best Bank Hour, right here on WGSO 990.
Got a passion for food? Chew on This is now serving up fresh flavors at a new time, Saturdays at 2 p.m. Don't miss a bite, only on WGSO or online at WGSO.com.
Hey, fellow patriots, I'm John.
And I'm Mike.
We're the Jambalaya Boys from the Holy and Patriotic Jambalaya Show.
Join us Saturday afternoons from 1 to 2 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM and WGSO.com.
God, family, and country.
All right, New Orleans, welcome back to the 7th inning of our 8-inning ball game here at 300 Carondelet here in New Orleans. This is Jack Clegg Show, and we're going to move along into another aspect of immigration. Okay, and I am. This is one that makes me kind of giggle, and what this is. This little story. There's two of them that came out. Two individuals. Okay, one was in Boston. Actually, both of them happened in Boston. There was a guy by the name of Wilson Martel LeBron who was in custody last week, and he was being tried in a trial in Boston for giving fake information on a driver's license. Okay, now, Boston is a sanctuary city. Its police aren't supposed to help out ICE. But it was in the paper. ICE learned this guy, okay, and his name was being tried in front of this Boston judge. So ICE agent, and they got his name, Brian Sullivan, went to the proceeding. He saw they took a break in the proceeding. Then he took Wilson Martell LeBron into custody. And Mr. LeBron, or it's Martell-LeBron, is currently in Louisiana at one of our great facilities here. Which one was it? It didn't say. It just says Louisiana. Probably Jenna. And so the judge, after they they got back after their lunch break, and the defendant wasn't there. And the judge says, "Where is he?" And the lawyer said, "Well, an ICE agent put him in custody and took him away." So the judge dismissed the charges against Mr. Martell and Martell-LeBron, and he then ordered Mr. Sullivan, Brian Sullivan, to appear before him under contempt charges. But it's no indication where Brian Sullivan is. He may not be in Boston. So the judge is going to have a tough time enforcing a contempt charge. Okay, that's one. There's a second one, another one. This other was a woman who was a Turkish graduate student. She's from Turkey. A federal judge in Boston had a case against her. She was a Tufts University, that's a big school up in Boston, a doctoral student. And she moved the case, the judge moved the case to Vermont. Why? Well, this was a case against her. It doesn't say what she did wrong and why the case was there. But once again, it was during a break in the proceedings, and ICE, Immigration and Custom Enforcement officers grabbed her on her lunch break and took her to Vermont. Then they took her down to Louisiana. And the judge is all upset about that. And so we're seeing right now how if you think you can screw around with the federal government and they want to get you, they will get you. So I would not want to be an illegal immigrant. These efforts and the fact that they're written up in the papers and so forth, and you can read about them online, are telling all the illegal immigrants that they're having problems. Okay, we got Rusty. Let's see what Rusty has to do today. Hey, Rusty, how are you?
Good evening, Jack. I wanted to let you know I've been listening to your show, even though I wasn't able to call in. But you only hit a nerve enough for me to drop what I was doing in the last segment when you talked about immigration.
Which nerve did I hit? A good one or a bad one?
Bad one.
Uh-oh, I'm sorry. What did I do?
Okay. Well, you might remember from few past conversations. I don't think these people are going to go back. One day in Latin America or some of these other countries, you don't even know if you're going to survive. You don't know what's going to happen. They're not saying, gee whiz, one day I'm going to be able to come back to this land of paradise. They're saying, I'm going to find a way to stay here. And I'll be honest with you, I'm disappointed in Trump because I think he's being pressured, or if not influenced, to stop what he wrapped with his campaign on, which is to send 21 million plus. He even said it about a week ago again in a press conference, back to their homeland.
Sure.
They're looking only at the criminals, which so far have not gone beyond tens of thousands, I know at best. And they're thinking if they can only focus on that, the American people will forget that what he said was that what Joe Biden did was criminal by allowing tens of millions of people
Sure.
to come in this country.
Sure.
And he won't, and the people are forgetting it. I don't hear one, well, in fact, I heard one almost mention it, this NTD station, this guy named Josh Phillips. But basically, I haven't heard any, even conservative media saying, when is he really going to pull up get things going where hundreds of thousands and millions. Now, I know he's only been in office 2 months or a little more than 2 months, but I don't hear anything like that about the big numbers, the numbers that he said he would throw.
I have to say, I agree with you. I have not heard those numbers, but the important word is yet.
Yeah,
What,
did
and I'll ask this, I'll throw this question out there. How would he get, let's say, 1 million? How would he get rid of 1 million in 6 months? What would he do?
Well, the only thing you could do, I'm sorry to say this, because people are going to compare it to what the Nazis did in Germany, which is go door to door and see who's who and say, let's see your papers here.
Okay.
And if you're not a legal person, you have to get the pathway.
Okay, let me go back though. We're going to return to that issue about how do you get him out of here. But I think we're forgetting a really important point. Let's just talk about this. Okay, he comes into office. What has he accomplished about immigration? I'm saying accomplished. What has he done so far?
Well, he's getting some criminals out, but I heard the spokesperson, his spokesperson, what's her name? Carson.
I don't know what her name is, but they're always attractive-looking women, so it doesn't really matter.
They asked her one time, "What criminals are you talking about?" She said, "Everyone that came in illegal."
Okay.
Is a criminal.
All right.
So what have they done?
Let me ask.
2,000.
Let me ask the question again. What has he done? What has he accomplished about immigration so far?
Not much.
Wrong.
Go ahead.
How many have come across the border since he's been here?
Oh no, the border part, I give him high marks.
Right. He's done a fantastic job. And it was in a matter of weeks. And for 4 years, it was going the wrong way. Huge numbers. We don't even know. That's how broken this was. And now, will the American people, and you're a smart guy, okay, your reaction to what he's doing, it's not that you're mean or anything, but you've kind of forgotten the fact that he stopped it, which is a big deal. Okay. The media has not reported on that either.
Well, I've heard him report on. I heard some networks report on that. But the problem is, as he keeps saying, Biden was the worst president ever existed in this country because he let tens of millions, at least 20 million.
Sure.
And the question is, do you just forget that he let them in and say, just close the border now and let these people stay?
I know. I mean, earlier in the show, I talked about what the Department of Homeland Security is doing concerning registration.
Uh-huh.
One of the problems, okay, millions are here. Yeah. Question, where are they? I'm serious. Where are they?
They're everywhere.
Right. So how is it that you get them in ICE custody if you don't know where they are?
I think they do. I went to Walmart today, and I tried to ask one of the workers there where a certain product was, and another worker came up to me and said, "Oh, she doesn't speak English."
Okay, hold on. I got to ask you to hold on. We're running on to a break. We're going to continue this after the next break. Okay, can you hold on, Rusty?
Absolutely.
All right. This is Jack Clegg Show. We'll be back in a moment.
folks, it's Jeff Cruier. I've been with WGSO for 17 years as host and now president and general manager. WGSO is a community-based radio station, a nonprofit, locally operated. We believe in cultivating local talent and emphasizing local programs. If you have an interest in hosting your own program, then we have some prime spots available for you. Take advantage of this great offer. Email me at jeff@wgso.com or call me at 504-669-6076. Come fulfill your radio dreams at WGSO.
Negative news got you down? Tune in at 4 o'clock on Thursdays and turn your life around. Only good vibes on WGSO 990 AM.
Hey guys, this is Lisa Leonardi, the host of the new show Live with Lisa Unscripted, every Monday at 4 p.m. drive time here on WGSO.
It's pet trendologist Charlotte Reed. Listen to the latest pet trends with benefits on the Pet Buzz, airing every Saturday at 6 p.m. Join me as I talk all things pets, from animal health and wellness, money-saving tips, the newest pet products, celebrity pet gossip, breaking news, and more. Our expert guests are in the know and in the now. To learn more about our unique program, our guests, and me, your host, listen to the show on WGSO 990, the community voice of the Crescent City.
Big Easy Pet Shop and Rescue is a nonprofit volunteer-run rescue. We provide adoption services and care for homeless animals across the New Orleans metro area. We also offer pet supplies and grooming services at our downtown and Marigny locations. The shops are located at 839 Spain Street and 513 Dumaine Street and are open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. weekdays and noon to 6 on Saturdays, noon to 5 on Sundays. We can be found on the web at BigEasyPetShop.com. Support local animals in need by shopping and adopting with Big Easy Animal Rescue.
Make a difference in the community. Join the JPSO family. The Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office is recruiting candidates for our July 2025 Police Academy. If you are a recent graduate, former military, or someone looking for a new career where you can make a difference, join the Academy and learn the academic and tactical skills to protect and serve. Application deadline for the July Academy is March 21st, so don't wait. Join the JPSO family. Visit jpsojobs.com today.
Hi, this is Rusty from the Olive Branch Cafe. The Olive Branch Cafe pizzas, pastas, and salads are the West Bank's favorites. We use only the freshest ingredients and prepare everything daily, like our lasagna, Caesar salad with our homemade Caesar dressing, and signature pizzas, including our Cajun trio, smoked sausage, chicken, and crawfish. Our lunch menu includes wraps, subs, soups, and salads, and everything starts at less than $12. West Bank born, West Bank raised, West Bank proud. The Olive Branch Cafe, Marrero and Algiers.
Join me, BJ Rust, every Saturday night for the Something to Say radio show on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live on WGSO.com.
All right, New Orleans, welcome back. This is the 8th and final inning of the Jack Clegg Show, and we're talking to our buddy Rusty about immigration, and I'm kind of summarize where we were and putting it in context. All right, and I'll use a word you gave. I couldn't say it better myself. Trump gets high marks for stopping the immigration at the border.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We agree on that. Okay.
I agree.
What you're not impressed with is the speed with which he is not removing people.
Yes.
And okay, and that's fair. Is that a fair generalization of what you said?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I covered on the show earlier a couple of things that have done. Number one, we are utilizing a law that was in effect but never used, and now it's being used, requiring anybody over 14 years old who's been in the country for 30 days to register with immigration. And if you don't, you break the law. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. There's a second one, though, which I think is even better. All right. Do you remember it was in 2023, the end of 23 and the beginning of 24, when Biden agreed to parole a bunch of immigrants from Haiti. Remember when Haiti had the gangs take over and so forth? Well,
right.
the parole was if you had someone here in America who claimed they would be financially responsible for you, you could get a plane ticket on any plane that would come to America. Some of them had to go to other countries first and then come to America. And you would be paroled, meaning you would be here. And the parole was either a year or year and a half, depending on which program you came in on. Well, those programs ended on the 31st of March, just last week. And Christy Nome of DHS.
Jack, can I stop you for a second?
Sure.
I'm missing something in the story. They were given a ticket to the United States.
No.
They kept out of trouble for a year. They could remain. Is that how it went?
No, they paid for their own air travel. They came here, but they didn't get any citizenship status or anything. They were allowed to be here, okay, under what is called a parole. And as you can imagine, it was a temporary thing, okay? And they came, and there were 560,000 of them, okay, 500,000. They came from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. All right. Their time is up, okay? And Christy Nome just announced, this is earlier today, that though she's notified, and they've all gotten information, that they must leave the country in 10 days. Now, what's going to happen?
I'm sorry. They're going to leave?
I would say they have a choice. They have a tough choice. Okay? If they get picked up by ICE guys, let's say they're driving a car, they get in a crash, they're in a place that's not a sanctuary state. They're in Louisiana. Okay? What are they going to do?
Well, Jack, what would you do if you went back to living in a dirt hut and you stood here and the homeless of America, which had meals to eat at the mission? Would you go back to a dirt, filthy hut, or would you stay here and live the worst that Americans can live, which is homeless?
Well,
you're not going anywhere.
Well,
that's a pipe dream.
There's one other thing you want to add to that. There's a risk now that you're going to be sent to A, Louisiana, in one of our detention centers, or B, El Salvador.
Okay.
Neither one of those is good at all. They're horrible. I saw what was going on in El Salvador. That's a horrible place. And it's like Supermax on steroids. And so,
did you know what Trump called Haiti at one point? He called it a crap. He called it a crap hole.
he was right.
I'm not trying to be.
No, he was right.
With any Haitians out there, but that's what he did.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Rusty. I have to ask this question. If they don't do what they're doing now and have a legal means to get them out, what are they going to do? What would you do?
Get some guts. You know, Trump is showing a lot of guts regarding these tariffs. He's telling everybody else, I don't care what you're saying. I'm standing up for our country.
Right.
Our country. He's got to do the same thing with the immigration. I know he's afraid they're going to try to impeach him, but he's got that right. The federal law says if they're not here legally, he has the right to get rid of them. And he's got to.
But he's got to find them first.
Oh yeah, he's got to find them.
Right.
All he's got to do is say, "Show me your papers."
Well,
Show me your papers. If they don't show them the papers, they get in the paddy wet.
But that sounds easier than it is.
Well, I know it's not easy.
Right.
I don't think it's easy at all. I dread what the ramifications of all this.
Well,
but at the same time, I don't think they're going to go back. My main point when I said it earlier, I don't think they're going to go back on their own. Maybe a handful, Jack. Maybe a handful.
Well, here's the issue. Do they believe if they go back they will ever have a chance to come back into the country. Okay. And the answer to that is a simple one. Have the Democrats decided?
The chances of them coming back is remote.
Why do you say that?
Because the fact is, there's too many of them. We don't even allow that many for
Well,
illegal.
let me ask you this. Isn't it a political question? What if J.D. Vance gets beat by a Democrat in 28?
That's a nightmare.
Well, but just on the issue of if they leave now, okay, if they leave now and a Democrat comes in 28, what will happen?
Well, probably, knowing them, knowing the Democrats, that's what I call them, they'll open the border again.
Right. And so these guys get to go back. They know where to go. They know where to get the money. They know which person to talk to here to get them around. They've been here. They've done it. So the decision now is if I go back alone and I do it, I self-deport, I might have a chance to come back. If I don't, if I get pulled out of here, I may have to go to El Salvador. I may go to Louisiana. I may go to detention. They've got my fingerprints. They've got everything about me. So if something happens, I'm the bad guy. Okay. They will have records. Right now, we don't have their fingerprints. We don't have anything on them. These people came here, they walked across, and nobody was able to keep any identification on them.
Right.
So if they
can find the people who are legal from south of the border and elsewhere, they do have papers. So the ones that don't have papers, they're going to have to prove their case in order to stay here. I just don't think. I think it's, again, wishful thinking to think that too many of these people are going to take up that offer. Their countries, most of them, are in horrible condition. And I just don't think, I think I would rather be homeless in America than be in their country.
All right. We got 30 seconds left. The important thing to remember is call my show the day after Thanksgiving in 2025, and we'll revisit this issue to see how many actually left on their own. Thanks for calling. Folks, have a good weekend and stay out of the rain and the tornadoes and the tsunamis and everything else. Have a good evening.
4 days, 300 plus bands, 22 stages, 70 plus food vendors. French Quarter Festival, presented by Chevron, is kicking off the 2025 fest season. From April 10th to the 13th, enjoy nonstop music, incredible food, and unforgettable moments.